Funky. Heard about the party now, just east of Harlem. Dougie gonna be there, but you got to.
This week on Soul Star Live, Walt Richardson is coming into the studio live in the basement of the Phoenix Center for the Arts, remotely, to talk about Paint the Town with Sound, our inaugural celebration as a support for Radio Phoenix. Stay tuned. More with Soul Star Live is next.
Call it what you like. I'ma call it how it be. This is just another one of God's gift. Musicology. Got to keep the party moving, like I told you. Keep the old school joint for the true funk soldiers. Musicology. Wait a minute, band. Wish I had $1 for every time you say. Don't you miss the feeling music gave you back in the day? Let's groove. September. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Hot Pants by James. Slides don't take you higher. Minor keys and drums make a roller skate jam. Take your pick, turntable, or a band. Lord, if it ain't Chuck D, Jam Master, you know what? They losing. Cause we got a PhD in advanced body movement. Keep the body moving, just like I told you. Keep the old school joint for the true funk soldiers. Musicology. Alright. Hold it down, band. Get back. Move, get back. Don't you touch my stereo. These are my records. Don't stop dancing. Drummer man, right on the bed, all the way to the crib. That's what I'm talking about. Keep the old school joints. Musicology for the true funk soldiers. Good God. Alright, on the one, y'all. Don't you hear this old school joint? Don't you ever touch my stereo. He said I got good and plenty of what you need the most, and that's time.
Ain't no room for guessing. So more than emotionally invested, showing you all my imperfections. So, but if I let you, don't take me for granted. If I want more than you can manage, yeah. Open with me, ooh, we can be honest. Close to the beat, ooh, giving me silence. Promise that you won't let me fall. right, giving me life all night. You could be telling me lies, making me cry, wasting my time the whole time. So just be careful what you take for granted. Yeah. 'Cause baby, know you could do damage. You could do damage. You can do damage. You can do damage. You can do damage. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed.
Welcome to Soul Star Live from the basement of the Phoenix Center for the Arts and Radio Phoenix Studios. This is Soul Star Live, and I'm your host today, Calvin Worthen. And man, I've been waiting for this for about a good year and a half, man, because when we talked about it, we was just so excited to do it. But the time is now. The time is now for Paint the Town with Sound. I hope you are ready. And we have our inaugural, our chief in office of the board. We got our senior guitarist, the classic man that is Mr. Walt Richardson. Please welcome Walt Richardson to Soul Star Live. Good brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing, man?
Man, like I said, I'm excited because it's finally here. It is finally here. Paint the Town with Sound. And before we go any further, let's remind the people about Paint the Town with Sound. This is a concert series that came out of a conversation that Desert Soul Media needed to provide an opportunity for fundraising and for community. And the idea was to try to collaborate in different genres and different music forms and take this concert series everywhere, all over the state of Arizona and even the region and maybe even all over the world. In any town, we're going to paint the town with sound. And so we need your support. You can get tickets online. And we're going to have all the information for you with that. But Mr. Walt Richardson is our inaugural guest in this concert series, and we are so excited, man. This is absolutely outstanding. I'm glad we finally here.
I am too. Before we get started, man, I want one of those shirts.
Yeah, check it out. Paint the Town with Sound. Shirts, hey, look, you know what? If you also want one of the shirts, you know, you might be able to get yourself a pre-order at the concert. The concert is going to be Saturday, November 27th, over at the Phoenix Center for the Arts in the 3rd Street Theater, 1202 North 3rd Street. And we're going to go from 7 to 9, and you better bring your dancing shoes because it's going to be what they call them, a jumper, a jig. We're going to get it moving. So make sure you get yourself situated. We're going to have the link in the bio of this video. You can go right there to get your tickets. But let's go in and find out what's going to be happening here at this concert. You kind of put yourself like a dream team together to come on the stage, good brother. You got yourself a dream team together. I see Gigi Gonaway, Beth Liederman, Drew Hall, Felix Saenz, and Hannes Kavarin.
Right.
Man, this is you putting a little bit, you know, put a little bit.
I'm mixing it up. I'm mixing it up and serving it up right.
That's
right. The thing about this team here that I'm excited about is all of these people have a long time, their career is expansive.
Yeah.
And some of them with the Valley, very expansive with the Valley, and others nationally and internationally.
Wow.
So it feels like it feels like great friends being on stage at the same time, and with all of the experience, the collective experience, these people have played all around the world.
Wow.
So when you put it all together, and so I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's titled Cafe on the Moon. You're gonna have to give us a little bit of explanation about this this cafe on the moon? I mean, I know that we just had like, Bezos and some other people was trying to get themselves up off the planet for a little bit, and now you're gonna take us to the moon, good brother.
I'm gonna take you to the moon back, and you don't have to come back. I'm just gonna take you there. You can stay if you want.
Stay. I'll stay, and I'll make sure I get me a plot on the moon, and
Right.
I might be able to sell my plot later on to somebody.
Well, Cafe on the Moon is a cyber coffee shop. What I mean by that is my interest is in science, and I've always been interested in the kind of like the physics side of things, where it gets really fuzzy and really we can use your imagination in a lot of places. And so my music is a carryover of the imagination that I used to have as a child.
Okay.
So that I could keep it as an adult and be able to play with it. So songwriting and all of that is a part of that balance in my life, because in studying science and studying the physical laws of the universe, there's a certain amount of focus that you start getting into.
Yeah.
And if you forget to have some time off to broaden your focus, to let it wander, to let it think about infinite possibilities of outcome, you can get narrowed into a kind of like a band of thought, a range of thought. And you never let yourself get outside the box,
Yeah.
So music was that opportunity for me to do that. And so when I got to Arizona, that was basically like a move for me that was more along the lines of like Carlos Castaneda's coming out to the West, getting involved in the philosophy of the region, and how the philosophy of the region coming up from Mexico and all of that. And I really enjoyed his books.
Yeah.
And also I had friends out here too that I had gone to school with in the Philippines. So as I landed in Tempe going to ASU, after I graduated ASU, I decided to retire. And I've been in retirement ever since then. But I wrote a song years later about Mill Avenue, as we started seeing all of the growth that was starting to happen and the changes. And so there's a line in the song that talks about a cafe we would sit in, and it was a restaurant as well. And we could see the trucks coming up and down Fifth Street. It sat on Mill and Fifth Street, starting to tear up this old streets and make way. And it's continued all the way up to this day. So the reference is we watched the changes from a cafe on the moon.
Wow.
And so it kept that restaurant that was pretty famous. A friend of mine was the head chef there.
Okay.
And we would sit there in the afternoons and just chat, have coffee, blah, 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 and everything. Then all of that started going away. All those little mom and pop stores started going away. So as I've sang the song over the years, and then I've learned a lot exposed myself to a lot of quantum physics and the idea of quantum physics. I'm not a quantum physicist.
Okay.
Get cleared up. I'm an artist. Okay.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it and everything. That phrase, that song, that part of the song, kind of kept feeling like it was an outside place to go to, a special place. That thing that gets you outside the box. So as time has gone over the years with the career and playing music and understanding the music, the effect music has on people, but also the effect it has on the artist itself, where the places where you go to receive music, or the places you go to create music in your own space. And having spent a lot of time in that, I decided that Cafe on the Moon might be a good place to bring people to have them experience what it might be like to be inside of a creative song process, or what are you feeling? What's in the way what's out of the way. And one of the things that is out of the way is you have to put yourself out of the way.
All right.
And so when you start that kind of concept and you're singing tunes like, you know, some Bob Marley tunes or things of this nature, where it talks about putting yourself out of the way to see a truth, to understand something, you know, self-control, all of that. So
that's so necessary right now today.
Right.
Because I can tell you about 4 or 5 things that, you know, I done put myself in the way of. And you know, considering our times today, you know, this pandemic, you know, we just got the verdicts out for the young man. We see that there's probably news stories going on right now that are traumatizing to hear. And it almost feels like that we are at war with, you know, people's insanity. We're at war with the insane mind of humanity, and people are just being irrational.
Yeah, well, you know, this is why the study of kind of a spiritual based understanding and life kind of can open the door to the possibility of really understanding truth.
Yeah.
And I'm referring to the truth of who we as individuals are.
Oh yeah.
You go down the path of asking the question, who am I? What am I? Why am I here? And you and myself and everybody that I know that living in America has an experience of what it's like to have brown skin.
Yeah.
Or darker skin.
Yeah.
And that experience is something that is, I'm going to use this word, it might not be the right word. It's artificial because it's the color of the skin doesn't determine anything in the whole scope of the universe, in the whole scope of how things are. But we've made it an issue here in certain regions, and we've made it an issue for different reasons in different regions. And we're a military family growing up. My father was in the Air Force, and later on he became a recognized Tuskegee Airman in the United States Air Force. But we were fortunate enough to live in different regions in the world. And every region has its cultural codes, its mores, its religions. And one of the things that you learn early on is to respect what each country, each region has going on. And when you do that, you are highly likely to be invited back to that culture again because you've respected what's going on. But that being said, it's like here's a really cool example. You're living on one side of the mountain where there's a lot of wind, and then the other side of the mountain where there's not that much wind because the mountain blocks the wind. Yeah. Now it's just a mountain.
It's just a mountain.
When you're on the one side with the wind, living is different.
Yeah.
And going around the other side of that mountain where the wind is just one aspect that's not there. And so there's little things that you do in the day. It's how you sweep the floor.
Yeah.
But it's completely different from the other side. So if a person
and we have to
has the opportunity to live on both sides of the mountain, then they're going to know, on one side where it's windy, you sweep the floor this way.
Yeah.
On the other side where it's not windy, you don't even have to sweep the floor that much.
That's Walt Richardson right there. So, let's take a break real quick. Walt Richardson is here on Soul Star Live. I'm your host, Calvin Worthing. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about those differences here. This is Soul Star Live. Stay tuned.
Bunch of other cover-ups. Your child's future was the first to go with budget cuts. If you think that hurts, then wait, here comes the uppercut. The school was garbage in the first place. That's on the up and up. Keep you at the bottom, but tease you with the upper crust. You get it, then they move it, so you never keeping up enough. If you turn on TV, all you see is a bunch of what the dude is dating so-and-so, blabbering about such and such, and that ain't Jersey Shore. Homie, that's the news. And these the same people supposedly telling us the truth. Limbaugh is a racist. Glenn Beck is a racist. Gaza Strip was getting bombed, Obama didn't say. That's why I ain't vote for next one either. I'm a part of the problem. My problem is I'm peaceful, and I believe in the people. Yeah.
It's so loud inside.
That's Words I Never Said. That's all right. That's all right. I think we got Skylar Gray and Lupe Fiasco there. That's righteous. That's righteous. You know, considering Words Never Said, you know, we have this conversation about these people who have these different experiences, and what you said in the segment before was that we have to have the respect. We go into a culture, we go into a place, and we respectfully interact or learn or engage in the practices of that community. We don't come in and determine how things go. We want to be human beings in there. So I want you to finish your analogy about the wind on the mountain.
Yeah. So with understanding that, if you're an individual that has the opportunity to live on both sides of the mountain, now you know two ways of how things can exist. If the mountain was the only thing in the universe, you know two things, two ways. But if you remain on just one side of the mountain and you remain there in a generational aspect, then your philosophies are so rooted, your patterns are so rooted, your stories, your everything.
The worldview is smaller, all of it.
All of it is limited to that. It's not wrong. It's just the way it is. But if you start crossing over the peak and keep going on both sides, now you're going to be able to tell stories of what you've learned from each side. And if you tell those stories with respect, then people get a chance to say, wow, there's another way of
whole nother way
seeing something.
There's a whole other way.
Remember I said the word respect. If you tell your experiences with respect and with love and consideration and things of this nature, those aspects, then it's easier for other people's imaginations to be engaged and say, well, what would it be like to go over there? Yeah. Now, the minute you start asking those kind of questions as an individual about anything that's outside of your norm or your box, you're getting ready to experience something of the unknown. And the unknown brings a lot of discomfort to a lot of folks because it's different.
That is the truth.
There's where we start getting a lot of stress just in that little boundary of just trying to think differently. Yeah. Now imagine that's just one individual feeling like that. That individual, say somebody of the family on the side of the mountain with a lot of the wind, one of the kids says, I want to see what it's like on the other side of the mountain. Just starts that conversation. Maybe the elders and maybe the folks that have never crossed over, they start saying, well, we don't know what it's like over there.
We don't know.
They get concerned because they want their offspring to be safe and everything. And for them, safe is what's familiar. Yeah. So when the child or whatever starts thinking differently, they're already starting a conversation or an experience that is going to cause a vibration on that side of the mountain. Then when they leave to go, people who are so connected with living on one side can start creating superstitions and illusions about what's going to happen to that person on the other side, and well, la and everything like that. And that stays on that side of the mountain. Now, when the child or that individual goes and experiences a wonderful experience on the other side, they have to change the way they look at life and all of that. Yeah. Now they've become a different person, because what's going on in our brains is when you start to ask questions, when you get curious about something, you're changing the neural networking in your brain.
Absolutely.
And it makes you want to almost like use your imagination, get curious. Yeah. And that's how we learn.
And that's also the support of life. Like if we don't remain teachable, if we don't expand our mind and build these new neural nets in our mind, consistently growing, then the brain is going to shrivel. Our experience on this planet is going to be determined by what we think and how our mind is interpreting this environment. And we have been kind of duped into the idea of staying on our side of the mountain because of whatever. We've been hearing those stories for the longest because they're on the other side, or nothing's over there, or something's over there. But you know what the reality is that we are all on this wonderful planet floating in the middle of the dark space and dark matter, from what I understand and what I see and what we've come to agree with, that we're here. This is the home. This planet is the home, and it's not for us to divide up and say, don't go over there or don't be with them, but it's for us to enjoy the whole of the planet.
Right. So, and to shine a spotlight on that aspect, but down onto an individual. Yeah. So you said thinking and feeling. Mm-hmm. Now, that's exactly where the issues lie. Yeah. Thinking and feeling. Yeah. You can think and feel yourself into a ditch.
Say it again. Say it again. You can think and feel yourself into a ditch.
Right. Ooh. Or you can think and feel yourself into some of the most beautiful experiences in your life. Yeah. And you'll see that there's an understanding that the thinking and feeling part is the individual's responsibility.
Yes. Yes.
And it's one we have to take up. Yeah. And when I say thinking and feeling, I don't mean just, feeling, anger and all those things. I'm talking about the broad spectrum of feeling. Yeah. And the biggest, the easiest thing to hide behind is anger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people will use those vibrations because the love and gratitude and joy feels vulnerable because it honors something that's already there in the universe, which is connection. Yeah. We're connected to all things in the universe through some way possible, whether it's on the microscopic level, whether it's on a light level, if it's on a thought level or a feeling level, we are connected with everything in the universe.
That's righteous.
And that's the first step. That's probably the most difficult because we can use words like loneliness and alone and I'm the only one feeling this, or maybe it's just this group that's feeling this. No, everybody's feeling, period. Yeah. Everybody's thinking, period. And to the level of what they're thinking and feeling is one thing, but that's going on. And that thinking and feeling process is invisible. You don't.
Oh yeah.
We haven't seen a thought yet, and we haven't seen a feeling.
And it's also something that has to be cultivated. I wanted to say taught or instructed, but the thinking and the feeling, we have to be able to cultivate the appropriate thoughts and feelings because we can play bad tapes in our head and we can have mantras that are defeating us, but it's really about because you get on the planet and you're just a baby. You're just a baby. And if you are conditioned to think and feel in a certain manner and not conditioned to cultivate thought and cultivate feelings and explore thought and explore feelings, then you can find yourself in that box and you won't get out, and you'll continue to bring other people into your box or bring them down. And it's easy for us to get to anger. It's so easy for us to get to anger and fear because it's so accessible.
Well, it's not that it's accessible. It's kind of it comes on with the illusion of feeling safe because you can hide your real feelings behind anger and never really let yourself experience love. And so here's another analogy I look at individuals. It's like you have say a tub of water and you put some dishwashing liquid in it and you disturb the surface. Now you create these bubbles. Yeah. And if you notice that when these bubbles are, you'll have a group of them, you call them suds, but then you'll have a small little group of them that are just, a bunch. And then you have one bubble that's floating by itself. And if you start moving those bubbles toward each other, they'll click together. And it's funny how we can all start clumping together with our stories. Yeah. Each one of those bubbles is a story. But if you move them apart, a bubble can be by itself. And then when you pop it, it goes back to being the water, the
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
So all the
Yeah.
bubbles are sitting on top of the thing that's connecting everything, which is the water. And when you pop all of them again, it's like, oh, it's going away. No, it just breaks down to a smaller part and goes back down into
Yeah.
the water.
Yeah.
So if the bubble is our story, and our story, whatever our story is, if we get out of our story, then we go back to what we're connected with.
Oh, wow.
And that thing that
Yeah.
we're connected with is I call it love, but I'm sure there will be a scientific term that will call it the something la 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 and the da 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 da.
Altruistic experiences of human
something
nature.
like that. But in that, what I'm trying to say is that water is consciousness, and those bubbles are consciousness. But what those bubbles get to do is take consciousness and create their own story.
Yeah.
So what we do as human beings, we get a chance to create our own story. Your story comes from the North. My story comes from the Philippines, Japan, Florida, and everything. And then we sit down and we tell our stories,
Yeah.
and we have laughter, and we trade information. The minute we leave the body, those stories pop,
Yeah.
or they disperse into other people who might have known us, and those stories. But yet our essence goes back into
the
the water
Yeah.
that's connecting, the thing that connects us all.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. And
So,
those stories are the things that also get to live on.
They
You
get
know,
to live on.
if they are the kind of stories that are enriching
Right.
and inspiring. You know, we
Right.
can point to some of those stories, even the narratives today. We can talk
Yeah.
about the Dr.
Well, that's-
Kings and the
yeah.
Malcolm X's, and we see how their stories will continue to live on, and we call on them.
Right. And if you're going to understand a person's story, then you have to be aware of a couple of things. You have to be aware that you can be looking at that person's story through the lens of your own story. So that's going to taint it.
Yeah.
And to get to the essence of that person's story, you have to go to where that person started the story, and you have to do that same thing with yourself. And
Yeah.
so therefore you end right back up into that space that connects us all together.
Yeah.
So I can tell the story of Bob Marley. His sons can tell the story of
Yeah.
him. Everybody can tell it, but we're all telling it through our lens and our experience of it. But when if we were to talk to Marley himself, none of those aspects might not even be in
you're
his
right.
original intention at all.
It may not
You see
even
what
be
I'm
on.
saying?
Yeah, it may not even be on his radar. What's on our radar? Yeah.
Right. And this is the beautiful thing about art, and this is why I chose music. Art can remain on the planet for a long time.
Yeah.
So generations going forward can always look back at a Rembrandt. They can always look back at a David. They can always look back at cave dwellings and everything. And each time we look back on it, depending on where we are in time, space, in terms of our current issues, we can also see another aspect of that story.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can say, oh, this cave dwelling. Oh, we now know what pastures are like now.
Yeah.
And then we look at that
Yeah.
thing and go, this could have been a pasture where these people were doing this on.
Exactly.
And now we've added more stories. We've added more to the story. The richness of this is that the stories are vast, and as vast as the universe.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
each
yeah.
person that comes, that decides to come here and experience life is as valuable as every person we consider to be a hero. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody comes in
Yeah.
here. Nobody comes in here unspectacular.
There you go.
Everybody comes
Yeah.
in here spectacular.
Yes.
But what
Yes.
you start telling yourself, or what you start listening to, you'll
You
turn
take
your light
you
down.
can take you can take away from that.
Take away from. So I could have an experience of being a Black person that had all these things happen to them, and I can list all those things, and I can go in what they felt like.
Yeah.
But I also can say, but I'm also something else more than that, because I came from something
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I focus back on that, I call that my spirituality, Okay.
Yeah.
And that is basically sitting down, meditating, or getting into a place of love. Now those stories have flip side to it. You start to see compassion for the person who might have done something to me. They thought they were doing something to me, but they're really reacting off of something there in their story. But it has no effect on me really because I don't know their story. And why should I react to it according to how they want me to react?
That's wisdom.
So if I don't react to it that way, they're baffled.
That's wisdom.
And I'll give you an example really quick. I was on a bus at one of the air bases we were living at, and we had already been to Japan. We had been to all these other places. I think I was 9 and 10 years old, and there is these kids on there, white kids, black kids, but this one group of white kids came over and started calling me names. Now, one of the things that you learn when you move across to everywhere on the planet is you learn the cuss words and the bad names you call people that you shouldn't say. Okay, and
you're so right.
each place has different words, and some of the words don't even make any sense to you. Because you go that's powerful.
Wow.
But after you stay there for a while, you start hearing it in the tones where people are saying it. And now you get indoctrinated, and now you can find yourself saying it with the same power, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So these kids called me a spear chucker and a jungle bunny.
Oh,
right?
wow.
On the bus. Now I'm just coming there. I'm coming there from Japan.
You're 10.
I am. I'm about 19. I'm coming from Japan, right? And my mind is thinking, okay, I'm in a new culture. These is like, to me, coming to America was like coming to another foreign country. I need to learn what's going on. So they're calling me names that they're expecting me to have an immediate knee-jerk reaction. But I'm listening to them. And they were probably weird. Well, why is this guy reacting? And so they're calling me a jungle bunny. Now, here's my mind. My mind's going, jungle bunny. An animal that looks like a rabbit that runs around in the jungle. I wasn't taking it personally. I'm trying to figure out what these people are meaning.
You started contemplating on it.
Right, the spear chucker, somebody that throws a spear. Okay, now I'm supposed to get upset with that, and it's not working with these guys because I'm trying to figure out what do you mean.
Yeah.
Then when I'm figuring out what they mean, as I figure out what they mean, I start feeling a little sorry for them because it's like. That's really sad that you can take something like that and try to use it to be hurtful.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the meaning.
But it was given to them to do that. It was given to them to have that power so that they could feel whatever the feeling is. Yeah, I mean so because they're kids, it probably came from home. It probably came from parents. It probably came from watching and observing in the environment.
Right.
And that's one thing that you brought up in this story is pretty critical to gain the understanding and be above it. Like you were so far above the understanding, even though you were in a place of ignorance. Even though you didn't know what was going on, you still were wondering. You probably contemplated on like, let me think about these names and what exactly it is that they are and what they're saying, instead of internalizing these words and feeling that and taking that all in because you didn't have a reference and because you didn't think that these were harmful. They were using them as harm, but you didn't receive them as harm.
No,
that's a higher level of reception there.
And so what I started doing is I started walking in the world like that. When people started calling names, instead of feeling, offended, I kind of felt like that's all they got.
Yeah.
And so if that's all they have is something like that they're wanting me to react to, they're trying to pull me in.
Yeah.
It's like, but
that's
I can't
all
go
they
there.
got.
I can't go there because if I go there, now we're arguing something stupid.
Yeah.
On my level.
And they winning. And they winning. And they start winning.
But here's what happened. Is when it didn't work, they were baffled.
Wow.
And that baffledness caused them to look for do either look for somebody to have a reaction because it didn't work here.
Wow.
And because it didn't work here, they stopped bothering me.
They stopped bothering.
They stopped bothering me. In fact,
we gotta take a quick break real quick, Walt. We gotta take one more break. This is Walt Richardson. We got Paint the Town with Sound coming up November 27th. You're gonna get more information about that. More with Walt Richardson on Soul Star Live right after this break.
Yes, yes, yes. My grandma almost lived to see 92. I'm so blessed. Yes, 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 yes. My son was born healthy and beautiful. I'm so blessed. Yeah, yes. My mama's on my right side, daddy on my left. My son, father doing this absolute. I'm so blessed, 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 blessed. Yeah, yeah, yes. And I know what I know. And I know what I know. Yeah, struggle gon' happen. It's just the way it be. Ain't nothing coming easily in this life. Sometimes you gotta work and you gotta grow and it gotta hurt. I'm sure you know. Take a look around. Woke up this morning listening to this song. You're so blessed. Yes, yes. Gonna rock this joint all night long. You're so blessed. Yes. To be up in here with our hands up in the air, waving like we just don't care. We're so blessed, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're back on Soul Star Live. And I'm in the studio with Walt Richardson, and I just want to remind you all, we are talking about this Paint the Town with Sound concert series to support Radio Phoenix and all of the efforts that we are moving forward and moving towards. So it's going to be Saturday, November 27th, you know, right after you get your Black Friday on. Come on in and sit yourself into a seat over here at the 3rd Street Theater, 1202 North 3rd Street. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. It goes until 9 or until Walt gets off the stage. You know how things is. If you've been to one of his concerts and you know how it gets. So come on out. Tickets are available at the link below in this the YouTube video. If you're listening on Radio Phoenix, you can go to radiophoenix.org and click on our link there for information as well. And we hope to see you out there. You know, these tickets, this concert series is going to support Radio Phoenix and its efforts to maintain its broadcasting. We have moved into the realm of broadcasting on frequency 90.7 FM, and we are awaiting our opportunity to get that started. So your support is going towards hearing this wonderful voice on the radio in the Valley. And you can also listen on radiophoenix.org as well, streaming. And man, this is just a great opportunity for us here in the Valley to really highlight this community radio that we've been offering for 13 years. Somebody holler at me, 13 years. And we want to continue, So we got our inaugural concert series, Paint the Town with Sound, with Walt Richardson. And man, this is really exciting because all this physics talk, you know, you're essentially going to sing us all of these theories and things into a you gonna put it into chorus for us, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a find an ABA form.
There you go.
Like that, you know?
See,
I'm gonna put it in a major minor form.
Yeah. You know? You said earlier that you weren't a physicist. Hey, we might have to get you. We might have to get you a real lab coat because you know when you strum and that vibration comes out, you become the physicist, sir. So you know we gonna have to give you the crown. You know we gonna come to the lab and see what happens. So.
Yeah, well, we can do that. I'm ready anytime, you know, to share the music and the vibration and the love and everything. I'm really excited about everything that Radio Phoenix has been doing, and also Desert Soul Media, what it's bringing to, what it's going to bring online as it comes on. And I just want to say, I know I'm speaking from sitting on the board, but what I'm most excited about is that I think people are going to be drawn in because of the amount of love that's coming through the programs.
Wow.
When you strike a match, that first thing of striking that match, that's like an intention, and it goes out, and whatever reason you're striking that match for is what's going to be going to the world. And if you're striking it because you're going to burn your ex-lover's car, that's not a cool intention. But if you're striking it because you want to bring light and warmth to an area, that's a whole different feeling. It's still striking the same match, but it's a different intention. And I feel like as people get to understand Paint the Town with Sound, what's behind it, visit Desert Soul Media, get to know the board members as well. You're going to find that the radio station that we're bringing online is really about healing.
Absolutely.
And it's really about healing trauma.
Yeah.
And we start with our family.
Yeah.
And then we move into our neighborhood, and we move into the community. That's how we heal. Okay.
That's right.
And I think that as people of color, which means something and means nothing at the same time, we bring our healing process to up front to the community. Everybody can benefit it. It's almost like if you say to people, I want to invite you over to our house for dinner. Okay. And they have a meal the way we cook at home. Yeah. And they experience that and they go, wow, this is good. And they want more people to experience it and everything. That's the same thing with this radio station. That's the same thing that I feel is about consciousness.
Yes.
When we say something, it's black, it's this or that. It's like, okay, you can get into all that terminology, but when you look into it with a different lens, you'll find this intense love and connection that is there at the intention that will sweep you up so fast. It'll sweep you up so fast. It's the same way with those kids trying to call a name that really has no barrier, has no effect on it.
Got no stick.
And no stick. And if people understand that all the name calling that we're doing, all the divisiveness doesn't have to have a stick to it. It can if you're opening your heart with compassion and all that kind of stuff, then you'll start to see everybody's pain. Now I tell you what, I can get into big trouble here, right here. And talk about things like, political leaders and who's doing what and these men and da. Well, when I look at any man, I do not praise men. I do not give my power away to kings and queens and things of this nature.
All right.
I understand respect, and my respect is earned. You earn respect.
Yeah.
So if you're a leader and you're just because your title is that, and people are going to bow down to you, you haven't earned my respect yet. I got to know why people are bowing down to you, and people give their power away that quick. I don't do that. I've never been that way, and that's not a black thing. That's just a Richardson thing. That's in our that's in our DNA.
That's a Richardson thing.
That was how we were taught. That's how we were taught in the military growing up. You don't give your power away. You assess the situation. You can't be assessing something if you just giving. No. You got to stay focused and pay attention. Get your mind out of the way and get locked into what's going on, right?
That's righteous. That's righteous.
So when I do that, if I'm looking at a president or a person in politics, and they're going this way, that way, saying things that are all kind of weird and we can't make sense of it, I start looking past that and start looking into that individual. And usually at some point in time, just like looking at those kids on the bus calling their name, you'll find their pain. You'll see what's going on. And then when you see their pain, I respond to that automatically with compassion and empathy, because that is somebody who was trying to probably please their father or somebody or their grandfather. and their grandfather never told them, "Son, I love you."
Yeah.
And you're, and you know, and
That's
you've had a
wild.
father
Yeah.
that tells you you did a good job on that football field today. You know how big you elevate right there in that moment,
Yeah.
and you carry that for the rest of your life.
And
But
when
if
you
you
don't have it, you carry that too. You carry
that,
it
and
until you let it go.
You look for that same kind of reinforcement in other people to try to elicit it out of them. And a lot of times you can go down a dark road going that way. And there's a lot of people on the planet that, unfortunately, they didn't hear that. I mean, and I mean, this how deep that line of a father telling a son how I'm pleased in you. I mean, even in the stories and scriptures of the Bible, it's in that line when it's in there when Jesus was being baptized, changing over into another level of understanding, a higher love and everything. And the voice came down saying, "This is my son who I am well pleased."
Well pleased.
That's a spiritual thing right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's telling you how deep that is.
Well, you flipping it, bro.
In our DNA, that we need to hear
we
our
absolutely
coach, our father, or somebody say that. I had that kind of dad.
Yeah.
So that laid the program down for me. I can only go so low in life. I can't go into the depth. I can't go into the deepness, the misery, the separation stuff, because dad laid the bar.
Right on.
He sat at the front of the table, at the dinner table, and he told us his stories, but he laid the bar.
Yeah.
And that bar was love. And we couldn't walk out in there and blame somebody else for something if we haven't looked into ourselves to see if we weren't doing the same thing.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
you know
righteous.
What I'm saying?
That's righteous, man.
He would not let us tease women, calling them ugly or anything. He put that to rest right away. He said, you know, that woman you're teasing could one day end up being your lovely wife.
Let's put that to rest for everybody. If you listening, put that to rest. We be talking about nobody. You look, boy. Put that to rest, man. No, that's really powerful, man. That's really powerful.
This is a man who had the Ku Klux Klan raid his house when he was coming up. They had to hide under the bed. He can stand up there and tell you to have love and everything.
Wow.
So that's coming from somewhere.
Wow.
I paid attention to that because I said, wherever that's coming from, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to have. And that's what I do.
That sounds like Bishop Desmond Tutu's quote. Years ago, I heard this and I didn't understand it initially. I kind of was. I didn't want to try to understand it, but he was in a speech saying that we ought, or not we, but he was saying to the South African audience that they ought to be. They should not be arrogant victims, but they should be wounded healers. And for a long time, it just bothered me to think that after everything that has happened in South Africa, that you would still call upon the wounded to offer healing and solace, even to the ones who may have inflicted them. And it's just such a powerful shift in the mind. Again, it goes back to that brain, where the brain says, if I'm going to offer healing, even my wounds will get healed in my process of going out to share and create and heal and mend. My mending will get mended. And so it's such a dynamic thought to not be an arrogant victim, to not say, hey man, look at all of this, you know, what the black skin and the ghetto and the red lining and be an arrogant victim and say, woe is me, look at all of these things that I have that are keeping me from being who I am. But to say, you know what, my obstacles, my tribulations, man, they are there. I recognize them. We can get them handled. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna offer healing. I'm gonna look for a place where I can, put a little paint where it ain't. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, paint where it ain't.
Come on now, paint the town with sound, people.
That's a great lesson that is learned in sports. How many times have you been on the team that lost by 2 points, lost in the last minute, or lost and all of those, and your goal is to get to be the winner, and then you eventually reach that goal, and you turn around and you look and you say, where did I learn the most? And you learn the most on that times when time ran out and you were 1 inch short and you lost.
Look, man,
all those losses are the things that taught you how
say
to
it again.
enjoy
That's
that one
right.
moment
That's right.
of winning.
What I try to give out to my son was you ain't losing. You're learning.
No,
you ain't losing. You know, when I was teaching him to play chess and I was just running him up and down the board, I had to give him some encouragement and let him know, son, you ain't losing, you're learning.
You ain't even right.
Don't lose like that next time. Next time, don't do that.
Did you tell him you were pleased?
Hey, every time he gets a victory on me, and it's been very few, but every time I let him know, man. I let him know I'm excited because if you could beat me, you pretty good at anything. Okay. I'm good at all things. At least I think so. So if you get one up on me, you all right. You making it. But, we only got a couple minutes left, but I want to definitely mention again all these wonderful artists that are going to be on stage with you, sharing the stage. We got Gigi Gone Away.
Yeah.
Beth Liederman. Drew Hall.
Gigi Gone Away.
Felix
Drew
Sainz.
Felix Sainz. Yeah. And Hannes Kavarin.
Look at there. We about to have a celebration.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I feel like I'm already having it, and I'm so excited about this show that the lead up and the rehearsals that we're having. In fact, we're going to have a rehearsal Wednesday.
Okay.
At a studio. If you want to drop by and
I might. You better watch out. I'll bring my tambourine.
Hey, you're welcome. Hey, you're welcome to come up on stage and you shake the tambourine.
We might have to work that out. We got to work that out, man. Yeah.
But if you want to come by and get some shots and everything, that would be cool.
All right. Yeah. If you're listening in, you had to check out the Instagram because I'm gonna stop by there and get a couple of shots. You got to check out the Instagram. If you're listening in, you want to follow us on Radio Phoenix on Instagram, Radio Phoenix on Facebook. Soul Star Live is on Facebook. Make sure you like and follow and share. And we thank y'all so much for hanging out with us today. This has been a great conversation with you, sir. I mean, every time, man, you take me around the mountain and through the village, under the valley, and it's really necessary for us to be able to have the dialogue about the things that are kind of invisible and we worry about and we see and really learn how our mind and our brain and how music can help to bring us healing. So thank you for that.
The heart is awesome. I would just say that. The heart is awesome.
Man, this is good. So bring your dancing shoes, bring your stomping shoes. We're going to get to jumping. We're going to get to rock and rolling. 1202 North 3rd Street in the 3rd Street Theater. Doors open at 6:30. The show starts at 7. And we're going to go until 9. Or, we might be in the parking lot grinding out a little bit. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what it's like. But go ahead and click the link in the bio if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on radiophoenix.org listening in, go to the website, radiophoenix.org, and you'll see we have a link there so you can get your tickets. And remember, this is going to support Radio Phoenix and its new FM station efforts and all of our wonderful efforts in bridging these media and digital divides and bringing support to this community here in the Valley. So we really appreciate you, and I really appreciate you, good brother. I'm thankful for you.
Thank you for having me on your show, Calvin.
Right on.
I'm glad to be here. I look forward to coming back.
Yeah. So again, paint the town with sound. Get yourself situated. We're gonna have a little place where you get you a t-shirt register. We're gonna get you can register, get a t-shirt there. And man, I hope to see you there. Paint the town with sound. Right on. This is Soul Star Live. Our executive producer is Kaja Brown. I'm your host, Calvin Worthen. Soul Star Live is a production of Desert Soul Media. More information about Desert Soul Media at desertsoulmedia.org. You all have a great week. Fantastic week. It's that holiday week. So after you get your Black Friday in, come get your Groove Saturday. Take care. Good night.